Some shocking NFL news came ringing in on Tuesday afternoon when the Houston Texans released starting safety CJ Gardner-Johnson. The entire NFL world was very surprised, including the insider Ian Rappaport. And on today's show, we're going to talk about potentially signing him. I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. But I firmly believe Miami should waste no time and bring him in immediately. Gardner-Johnson is a high-quality safety, and this is an absolute gift from the Texans in the fact they're releasing him, not even making anybody trade for Gardner-Johnson. They just cut him. So why would the Dolphins not take advantage and sign a veteran who would be an immediate upgrade over the safeties they have been playing opposite of Minkah Fitzpatrick, like Ashtyn Davis, Ifeatu Melifonwu, and Dante Trader Jr.? I'll have more thoughts on the matter coming up here, but make sure you follow us over on Instagram at Dolphins Today IG is the handle. We're 48 followers away from 1,200. More short-form content over on IG, so go give us a follow right now. I mentioned it off the top, though. This was an absolute surprise release from the Houston Texans. He was the starting guy for them, and I thought he's been playing pretty well. Now, I did look into why he may have gotten released. We'll explain a little bit more here in a second, but even Field Yates brought up this note. The Texans converted $6.58 million of the Gardner-Johnson salary into a signing bonus. They clearly envisioned him being here for the entire season and envisioned him being a key part of that Texan secondary. But as the 3 weeks of the NFL season went on, the Texans are 0-3. Things aren't going so well, and he ultimately got released. Now, Aaron Wilson, who covers the Texans as well as the NFL, had some behind-the-scenes reporting on Gardner-Johnson saying that he has complained about his role, he's wanted to blitz more, and communicated to Texans that he wanted to be traded. But the Texans didn't even want to deal with that, and they just flat out released him. More looking into it as well. The first 3 games of the season, Texans lost all by 1 score. Jags by 7, Buccaneers by about a point, I think it was. And then you had the Rams in week 1 in a 1-score game. All 3 of those games, a big play touchdown was the ultimate difference. And apparently, looking into it, CJ Gardner-Johnson was the reason why that big play was given up on the back end, not staying true to his assignment in the secondary. But getting back to Gardner-Johnson and why this could be a good addition for Miami. We talked about CJ wanting to blitz more. Well, you want to blitz more, CJ? Well, then the Miami Dolphins are the team for you, considering they blitz more than any other team in the NFL besides one. The Dolphins have the second highest blitz percentage in the NFL through 3 weeks. The only team that blitzes at a higher rate than Miami is the Atlanta Falcons, and it's by 0.4%. You see the top 5 right now. Miami likes to bring blitzes. It's been honestly a downfall of the defense to this point because they are trying to make it too complicated and they're not fast enough on the back end to rotate, and it's allowing wide receivers and tight ends to be open 5-6 yards down the field when they're bringing 5-6 yard or guys to the quarterback, and the QBs are able to just read it and get it out quickly. But if you're wondering, the Texans were actually 18th in blitz percentage. So bottom half in the National Football League with a 25.8% rate. So the Miami Dolphins have almost a 15% higher blitz rate than the Houston Texans. And when I look specifically at this Dolphins defense, they do like to bring players from their secondary. How about this? When I looked at on PFF and the pass rush percentage of the 6 DBs that Miami plays the most, here's what I found. Nickel corner Jason Marshall Jr. has a 13.5 pass rush percentage. Cornell Armstrong, who has appeared in just 1 game, had an 8.3%. But then here comes the safeties. Dante Trader Jr. at 8%. Minkah Fitzpatrick at 5%. Ashtyn Davis at 4.8%. And Ifeatu Melifonwu at 4.3%. Rasul Douglas really hasn't rushed the passer at all. Jack Jones had the lowest pass rush rate out of any corner. He made the list at about 3%. But CJ Gardner-Johnson currently has a 5.6 pass rush percent rate. So I would envision him, if he did sign with the Dolphins, having a massive uptick in potentially rushing the quarterback and blitzing like he wanted. I would see him probably take that Dante Trader Jr. role in the box and in the slot in terms of coming off the edge with blitzes. And we know Gardner-Johnson in his history is very valuable at getting downhill, stopping the run, and getting after the quarterback, which will show more stats on him in a second. But let me know your thoughts. Should the Dolphins sign CJ Gardner-Johnson since he is the newest NFL free agent? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Pin comment on today's show. Go let me know in the comments. I think this is an absolute slam dunk. I have no clue if Gardner-Johnson would want to sign with Miami, going from one 0-3 team to another. But if he was open to joining this Dolphins defense, Miami should be jumping at the opportunity to make that happen. This secondary can use all of the help it can get. We showed the safety pass rush percentage, but the truth is, this safety room has been absolutely atrocious. It's been arguably the worst safety room in the entire NFL. And when you think about the Dolphins, they have the worst tight end room, they have the worst cornerback room, and they very well might have the worst safety room as well. Looking at the PFF grades and rankings of every safety in the NFL, if you filter out the highest snap percentage and just say any safety who's played 20% or more of the highest snap count, there are 84 safeties that qualify. You see the Dolphins' 4 starters and rotation guys playing right now. Minkah Fitzpatrick is the 31st graded safety, so as a top starter in the league. But Davis, Trader Jr., Melifonwu, all in the bottom 25 safeties in the National Football League. It's just been flat out unacceptable. If you're wondering where CJ Gardner-Johnson is on the list, well, he comes in right about halfway at number 40. So clearly an upgrade over Ashton Davis, over Trader Jr., over Melifonwu. And this, to me, isn't a signing to replace the rookie 5th-round pick out of Maryland, Dante Trader Jr. No, you should probably see what you have in the rookie from Maryland. But Davis and Melifonwu have not been good whatsoever. So if I had to choose between bringing in Gardner-Johnson for the rest of the year or riding with Melifonwu and Davis after what we've seen through the first 3 weeks, yeah, I'm going to choose the veteran who has proven it more throughout his career and is also playing at a higher level right now. More coming up here, but new sponsor alert. How about Omaha Steaks coming on board? Are you on the lookout for convenient weeknight meals? I love cooking, but it's difficult at times with the craziness that is the Dolphins. From handcrafted steaks to delicious fall favorites, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. And now, during their Red Hot Sale event, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code NFL Daily at checkout. Heartland quality food delivered right to your door. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor and is the choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. They also carry mouth-watering burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, and delectable desserts. Get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during the Red Hot Sale event. And remember, for an extra $35 off, use promo code NFL Daily at checkout. That's an extra $35 off with promo code NFL Daily at checkout. They also have 50% off at omahasteaks.com. See site for details, links in the description and comments of today's video. Back to CJ Gardner-Johnson and why I like him potentially joining this Dolphins secondary. When you think about him as a player, I think there's a lot of similarities between him and current Dolphins linebacker Willie Gay Jr., who, by the way, should get more snaps for the Dolphins. He's the highest graded defender the Dolphins have this season, despite only playing about 14 snaps. But Gardner-Johnson is fiery, he's physical, and he does not back down from a challenge. You consistently see him jawing with the opposing team on a weekly basis. And I know, maybe it's a hot take, I need more of that in Miami. This defense has been terrible. So why not show some spirit? Why not show some fight back? Gardner-Johnson would bring that to this team. He would also bring another versatile safety, and we know versatility is huge in an Anthony Weaver defense. He moves people around. He sends people on blitzes. He has people in the slot, on the outside, in the box, in the free safety roaming. Well, Gardner-Johnson this year so far for Houston, in the box 89 times, free safety 83 times, and in the nickel 29 times. So he could play anywhere, just like Anthony Weaver really likes to have. And his coverage stats have been so far this season. 6 for 8 when being targeted, allowing 14.3 yards per catch. Doesn't really have a PBU or a touchdown. A QB rating when being targeted of 100.4. So not great there for CJ Gardner-Johnson, but I think this is something where he's improving. When you look at his last 2 games on Pro Football Focus, it has been significantly better. He had a rough outing against the Los Angeles Rams in Week 1, bounced back against the Buccaneers in Week 2, and against the Jaguars this past week, despite having a couple blown plays. And when you think of his overall PFF grades, they've been solid. I said it. He's the 40th graded safety amongst the ones that qualify, 63.4 overall grade. But I love his run defense, 71.2. Yes, the coverage and tackling has been a little bit spotty. A missed tackle percentage of 20% isn't ideal, but I talked about it earlier. He's fiery. He's physical. He will bring the right mindset to each and every game. You can question his locker room fit, sure, but you cannot question his fight and spirit on the football field, which is why I'm certainly intrigued with signing him. And I'll tell you right now, folks, if the Dolphins sign CJ Gardner-Johnson, we will have you covered with a video breaking it all down. So subscribe and turn on notifications because you don't want to miss a thing. 2 videos every day. We cover news that happened in the NFL that could help the Dolphins. We also cover actual Dolphins news like the roster moves they made on Tuesday. I briefly talked about it. I think Gardner-Johnson's been much better in the last 2 games, specifically in coverage, than he was in the opening one. He just had a rough go of it trying to cover some of those tight ends. I believe Tyler Davis from the Los Angeles Rams got him on a route. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. It was a slugfest game between Houston and Los Angeles, but Gardner-Johnson did give up about 83 yards, but didn't allow a catch this past week against the Jacksonville Jaguars, at least in the PFF charting. And he only gave up about 30 yards in Week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think he's been improving and is a player that would be able to come in and I think really improve this Dolphins secondary. Talked about it earlier. It can't get worse from where it is right now. You look at the Dolphins' pass defense through 3 weeks. Yes, they're playing 2 of the better pass offenses in Buffalo Bills and Indianapolis Colts. Who would have thought that with the Colts? But either way, 21st in yards per game allowed, second to last in yards per play allowed via the pass, the worst defense in the NFL in EPA per pass, and then when you talk about average separation for their opposing wide receiver or running back or tight end when defended by the Dolphins, tied for 23rd. It is, without a question, a bottom 5, if not the worst pass defense in the entire NFL. So even if you have concerns, even if you have reservations about signing CJ Gardner-Johnson because of some blown assignments in Houston and the coverage numbers not being elite, it's still better than what you have. And I'll mention it again. The Dolphins defense cannot get worse from what it has been through the first 3 weeks of the year. It could only get better. And I believe it would get better if they brought in CJ Gardner-Johnson. I think this is a good move Chris Grier should make right now. Now, like I mentioned earlier as well, not sure if he'd want to come to Miami because we're 0-3, and it sounds like he was getting frustrated with the Texans being 0-3. But hey, you at least got to reach out to him, put out a feeler, and see if you'd be interested in donning the aqua and orange.